Will your second stimulus check be taken for child support? Hey, good evening, everybody. This is LALATE with a second stimulus check update. Thank you for joining me for evening's LALATE, our 1-hour programming block. Every evening that starts about 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time follows this video with EIDL, a 1-hour programming block. This one's about the check, especially if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and Veterans benefits. And I'll be answering your questions tonight, but I'll be doing something a little bit different. I'll also be answering some of the questions you've dropped today on hazard pay and rent assistance and FPUC as well. So really great news across the board. Let me get right to the lead in child support. I'm going to answer the question right off the bat, and then I'm going to go into the backstory, which is very interesting. Child support. Under the first stimulus package, it could be taken, your first stimulus check could be taken for child support. Under the second stimulus packages, there's two of them. There's one from the Republicans, there's one for the Democrats. The Democrats' proposal does not allow the check to be taken for child support, does not allow. The Republican proposal does allow. All right, the question has been answered. I gave it to you right off the bat, no holding it to the 10-minute mark. Let me get to the backstory of this. And this was so strange. This channel gets comments, and a lot of comments sometimes are held and flagged. And I gotta tell you, this channel has gone over child support a lot of times, and we would answer the question, then suddenly someone would say, they would ask the question again. And I was like, well, I just answered the question. And then we would jump in the comments, and someone would ask the question, we'd answer the question again. And then they'd ask it right back at us. And we thought, what is this? Is this some type of strange Russian bot? Ultimately, we never figured out what it was, and it's still going on to this day. Literally today, we were getting about 25 comments every hour asking about child support, and nearly 90% of the comments that are flagged are asking the same question, sometimes by the same person, 5, 10, 20 times an hour. So we couldn't figure out if this is really a bot or real people or a mixture of them. But let me answer the question, and I'm going to be very kind and polite in how I'm answering this. I'm not going to do this video again, so I'm doing it one time because the video is not something that can be updated until the bill is actually passed, and I'm going to explain to you why. So there's nothing else to tell you after this video until the bill is passed. First, the first stimulus check can be taken for child support. So if we're talking about that first check that has already arrived or the check that's on its way, it can be taken for child support because that's the way the first stimulus check was written. Pretty clear. Second stimulus check is a battleground between the Republicans' proposal and the Democrats' proposal. Now, you've heard of me on this channel saying that there's a deal. The deal is about the check amount, the delivery date, and who qualifies. But ultimately, there's always that fine point language, the minutia language that has to be hammered out. And so we simply don't know, sitting here right today, if the specific fine details of the Republican plan or the Democratic plan is going to survive. So, listen up. The Democratic plan does not allow the check to be taken for child support. The Republican plan does. So, I can't tell you what's going to happen with the second stimulus check until it actually is passed into law and we see all the fine details. That's the bottom line. Next, who else is often the topic of discussion but never really addressed? People in jail, which aren't really particular big viewers of this channel, I think I would presume. Can the second stimulus check go to people in jail? No. So people in jail are not eligible for a second stimulus check, and under the Republican plan. And there's a twist that apparently if they got a first stimulus check, they have to return it. I don't know the dynamics of that or how it's done. Now, I also don't know what the Democratic plan is for people in jail and whether they have to return the check as well. But ultimately, I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to jump in the comments and ask about being in jail and where's their check. Garnishment of the check for purposes of past due bills. That's also a clear, important question. Can the stimulus check be taken for past bills? Under both the Republican and the Democratic plan as written as it appears, no, absolutely no. Moreover, if you are behind on state taxes or federal taxes, the second stimulus check can't be taken under both the Republican and the Democratic plan. Under the first stimulus package, they could take the check for past due state or federal taxes. Now, so one thing I want to make absolutely clear, because I got this question about a week ago, because when we talk about taxes, it sort of triggers another question. Is the stimulus check taxable? No, it is not taxable. Another question I used to get, but I haven't gotten in the last few days, but I want to answer it, is would the check cause you to become ineligible for benefits like SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans benefits? No, there's nothing about the check that makes you fall off of something else or become ineligible for something else. So that's really what's important to understand. Next, I got a couple comments from people, and this is really hyper technical. And the answer is, I don't know how the answer. They said to me, okay, someone else is declaring that person as their dependent against their wishes. Will that person, declaring that person against their wishes, get their check for them? I mean, the common example I guess you would think about is a husband and wife have broke up, and the husband is declaring the child as his dependent. And will the husband get the child's check if the wife is now actually has sole custody? I mean, that's a sort of strange, really complex scenario. You know, I don't know the answer. Ultimately, it follows the following scenario as well. A lot of people are asking, hey, I'm on benefits, but I'm also a dependent on someone else's return. Will the other person get my check for me, or will I get the check? The IRS is really not clear about this, and ultimately I've been advising viewers that, hey, just be on the lookout of it coming in two different ways. I think it's more likely for you to get the check than someone else. And the example for that is you're on your son's tax return as a dependent, but you're also on SSA, SSDI, or you're on Social Security or something like that. Would the son get the check for you, or would you get the check? IRS is not clear, and we simply don't know. It's not like, Steve Mnuchin's out there explaining this stuff. He doesn't care. He's out there, talking about ridiculous stuff on a Sunday morning, like America staying home and getting rich on $600 a week. I mean, it's just... so no one's answering these questions for you, and I try to research the information, and ultimately there's often no answers for these things. It's the same case for someone who is a dependent on someone else's return against their wishes. What do you do? Ultimately, I got to remind you that this non-filer filing that I've talked about the last 2 days, well, actually the last 48 hours, and I did it on yesterday's video, and everyone was very, very happy about yesterday's afternoon video. I want to remind you that that document, it never gets you in trouble and never offsets something or never is unnecessary. It is sometimes overly cautious, the document. What I mean is that, the purpose of the document there's only really one purpose of the document, which is to tell the IRS who you are and where you're located, so that if they have to send you this economic injury check, aka the stimulus check, they know where you are. And when I say you, it could also be your child. So a lot of you have understood, and this is great news, that the economic impact check has a necessary element, and to know that is, where are you? Hello, where are you? I'm looking for you, knock, knock. It's just, they can't find you or the child, so they need to have that information. And so viewers overnight have said, hey, I have a 1-year-old daughter. She was just born. Do I have to tell the IRS about that? Otherwise, the 1-year-old daughter won't get a stimulus check. Or I've had people say, unusual circumstances that suddenly there's another person in the picture and the IRS wouldn't know the picture. File the form. File the form, because the form can't hurt you. It can potentially solve the situation. Moreover, if the form is unnecessary, no big deal. Then you just did extra level of precaution. It's a great thing, because at the moment there appears to be, and if you know the answer, drop in the comments below. I would love to hear the answer, because I don't see any other answer. There appears to be no other way to tell the IRS where you're located, separate and apart from filing a tax return. Now, I had a wonderfully nice viewer in one of the comments about a week ago said, hey, I saw this problem happening on the first stimulus check. And you know what I did? I helped a lot of the senior women in my center just get a tax return on file. They've never filed a tax return in 10 years because they don't make enough money, but there's nothing against filing a tax return. It's not like it gets you in trouble. The tax return was just 00000 or whatever it was, and it had their name and address. Bam, IRS knew where they were, and they got their stimulus check. So that person went out of their way to really just help someone. And that's what I'm explaining to you, is that if you want to do that route, that would help you, but also the non-filer form really is helpful. Hazard pay. A lot of people are asking about where and when and how and what and when this would happen. And a lot of people who are new to this channel are asking questions about how you determine eligibility. If you could do me a favor, please subscribe to tonight. If you're liking these videos today, we're at like 127,000 and a few hundred more. So if we can get to 130 tonight, that would just be incredible. We're about 98 days into this channel, which, I mean, no one in the history of YouTube has ever really gotten to even to 100,000 subscribers in 80 or 90 days like we did, less than 90 days. And now we're pushing 130. So let's see if we can get to 130. But for the individuals who are sitting back and wondering, what do I do with this hazard pay? And am I eligible for hazard pay? Let me say the following. I promise to do another hazard pay video for you, which goes over the definition of who's an essential worker, because I haven't done that video in about 2 weeks, and I get a lot of questions, and I understand we're adding about 10,000 subscribers newly every 48 hours, and we have about 1 million views. I mean, no one's doing these numbers, and I want you to know that information. So rather than piecemeal it for you, I'll try to do that tomorrow. But essentially, the essential workers are frontline medical, shipping, all type of shipping, all type of driving, taxi, limo, Uber, Lyft, all type of trucking, truck drivers, warehouse, crates, all type of aerospace, everything aerospace, left and right. Nothing automotive. I got that question early on. Nothing for repairs of automotive, but everything for repairs of aerospace, everything nautical or maritime. So everything with boats, boat shipping, boat handling, boat repairs, everything with grocery stores, and bringing the food in from the warehouses. So getting the food from the farm to the grocery store, everything about the farm, essential as well. All these things are essential. Everything about pharmacies, dentists, who I always laugh about, not to disrespect them, but they have their own line item. I mean, everyone has these general categories, and dentists have their own line item. Teeth. Teeth are essential. Then the ones that are certainly a little bit strange in the wording are maintenance repair people, which sounds generally like janitorial. If you're a janitor in a building, clearly you, but how about an electrician, or how about a person who makes repairs? So I'll be going through that document for you so you understand who's essential, who applies for you. I had a wonderful viewer just about an hour ago who said, they are providing a copy of all my videos on hazard pay to their boss at Carvana and saying, hey, what are you going to do with hazard pay? I love that. Do the same at your place of work. Say, hey, here's this kid. Here's this kid with the purple shirt. There's this thing called hazard pay. What are we going to do? It may pass. Are you going to give us a hazard pay? Are you going to apply for hazard pay? But as I said to you, have the conversation with your fellow workers first, because you really want to get the movement to apply if you're all eligible. Next, FPUC, and this is so important. If you someone asked me just about 10 minutes ago in the comments, the FPUC video, or the PUA, the third video on the afternoon's LALATE, do I apply for FPUC? No. FPUC is not something you apply for. It's on top of PUA and UI. I said yesterday, I'm going to repeat this again. This is a wonderfully helpful comment from Xavier, from Javi on this channel that said, tell the viewers at LALATE that they need to keep on certifying for benefits if they're impacted by COVID-19. Yes, so if you're impacted by COVID-19 and you're on UI, certify for benefits last week and next week. If you're on PUA, do the same thing. Don't stop certifying for benefits because FPUC has stopped. That has nothing to do with your UI benefits and has nothing to do with your PUI benefits. You have to keep on certifying if you're eligible for those benefits those weeks to get that money. Because if you don't, you're not going to get your UI or PUA money, which is the base level. It's the $60 or $167 or $85, whatever it is of your state. You won't get that money. And then if FPUC is passed, here comes the next question: is it applied retroactively? It looks like it likely would. I don't know per se. It is one of those things that is so obvious, but sometimes Captain Obvious is not on the Hot Mess Express going down Washington Avenue. Ultimately, I want you to get your UI and PUA weeks certified, because if you do, then if it is retroactive, you'll get your FPUC on top of it. If you don't do it, you're not going to get your FPUC. It's as simple as that. See how much stuff I'm covering in just 13 minutes? I'm just zooming through this. Next, a lot of you often ask contradictory questions. You're asking if this conflicts with something else. I haven't done that in a while, so let me do this right now. Does unemployment benefits conflict with PPP? Yes. PPP, you have to be back at work, so why would you be getting unemployment benefits? Next, so basically, if you applied for a PPP loan and you're getting that PPP loan money, you can't be keeping your butt at home. I mean, what are you doing here? Does PPP conflict with EIDL? Somewhat. You have to disclose one or the other. You have to ask your PPP lender for that. Is FPUC taxable? Yes. I haven't done that video in a while. Yes. And what I always advised viewers was the following, and so is UI benefits and so is PUA. All unemployment stuff is taxable. What I always advise viewers is the following, and this is so important. I'm going to go very slow on this. When you go to request your weekly benefits, it will ask you if you want to take taxes out or not take taxes out. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you in a second why it doesn't matter. What matters is you have to remember what you did. So don't keep on switching back and forth. So let's say, for example, 2 weeks ago you took it out, and then this week you didn't take it out, and next week you took it out, and then suddenly you're going to lose track. Oh, damn, did I take it out? Did I not take it out? You will literally have a bookkeeping nightmare if you can't keep up track which one you did. So just do one and stick with it and just keep it the same way every week. If you take out for taxes, then you don't have to pay taxes on it when you prepare your taxes next year. If you don't take out for taxes, then you have to keep some money on the side to pay for it when it becomes taxable on your tax return next year. Pretty simple. Finally, some people are asking me, is that otter in the opening intro to Afternoon's LALATE real? Yes, the one on the left is real. The one on the right, of course, is animation. But you'll hear in the opening credits people saying, that otter is fake. No, he's not fake, and he would take deep offense to you calling him fake. The otter on the left side of the screen, who's not there's a one on the right that's animation. He moves in and he doesn't move. But the one barking and I assume it's an otter. Someone said it's a seal. I guess maybe it's a seal. I'm not good with my fish. I can't be good with everything. When that is a real marine organism. That's a real seal, and that barking is really him. He's very famous. I was going to say he's more famous than Mitt Romney or Mitch McConnell. He's very famous around those areas. So if you want to meet him sometimes, he's always there. He doesn't make appearances outside of the water, but he's always there and he's always barking. There's no particular reason why he's barking, but of course he makes very good opening credits. Finally, I'm sorry, Lori. I mean, the Easter Bunny is not real. And coming up later today is EIDL loans. Tomorrow morning, we'll be detailing on mornings LALATE at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time what you should expect with the second stimulus hot mess express starting next week. I'm fully advising you and fully warning you that you're going to hear a lot of hot air and it's going to get really heated. And one thing I want you to know is the following. Someone asked this in a comment just about 5 minutes ago. They said, I still see this chatter about $2,000 checks, and I see thumbnails on YouTube for $2,000 checks, $2,400 checks, $6,000 checks. What's going on, LA? Basically, when we're talking about individual checks, there's only one thing on the table right now, $1,200. We could have been talking about other amounts before last Monday when the Republicans introduced their plan. But now that we are literally at an agreement about the amount is $1,200 for individuals, $2,400 for spouses. So there is no more a $2,000 check. There is no more a $6,000 check. There is no more multiple consecutive checks right now. This is this stimulus check. If you have questions in today's video, drop them in the comments below. And join me coming up next with EIDL. Have a great evening and see you tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care.